My name is Chloe Sunderland, and for the last year and a half, I have had the honor of running the world's largest men's rights community on social media. I love my job, and I'm honored to do this, but something has been weighing on me very heavy, and I stayed up pretty much all night, only slept a couple hours. As you can see, I haven't brushed my hair, haven't done my makeup. I just needed to sit down and make this video. I am here to share with you guys, and for only the second time in my life, third time in my life, give details about the sexual abuse that I experienced as a little girl, the sexual targeting that I experienced from both men and women as an older woman. And by the end of me sharing this with you, I don't want you to feel sympathy for me. I want you, by the end of this, to have a different understanding for the victims around us. I was 4 years old when the older brother in the family who adopted me began to molest me. It happened for many years, and I was not in a safe place where I could tell anybody because I was already being abused by the adults in the home. I was being neglected, refused food, basic clothing, and basic necessities of life. I was locked in a bare room for a great majority of my life, which made manipulating me a lot easier. There were many, many times where I hadn't had water or food, maybe hadn't gone to the washroom all day, and my mom would go out, my sister wouldn't be home, and my older brother would bring me out of my room. He would feed me, he'd bring me to the washroom, let me put clean clothes on, and then he would bring me down to his basement, where his room was, and he would molest me. He would instruct me to stand in front of him, close my eyes, take my clothes off, and lay down. I was never, ever allowed to have my eyes open, which makes me more angry as an adult because it makes me think that he believed I was stupid, and that just because I couldn't see it, that I didn't know what was happening. But that, of course, is not true, and not how our senses, work. The sexual abuse happened for a long time. It started with him trying to perform oral sex, to it progressing as I got older, probably around 7, 8, to him attempting to penetrate me, which thankfully he never could. My brother's name is Kai Sunderland, and I'm coming out with this today because when I came out about it when I was 14 years old, nobody protected me. My family covered it up, and I was manipulated into believing that I would not stand in court because there was no evidence, of course, but because I had already been through so much trauma and neglect and abuse in my life that I struggled greatly with dissociation. I never used to be able to cry like this. I would go to another place. It would appear like you're talking to me. It would appear like I'm looking at you. But then you'd say to me, what did I just say to you? I don't know. Dissociated, I wasn't there. It's a way that your brain protects you when too much is happening. And I've dissociated right since a little girl. There seems to be a great belief in the men's rights community, but also in families, that people, women, children, lie about being raped. We hear families say that the children are lying. They're confused. My family did. They didn't believe me. My mom still tries to convince me that it never happened, but she never will. But society will tell a woman she's lying. She's doing it for money, for attention, that most women lie about being raped. Well, let me tell you something. I was sexually assaulted upstairs in my room about maybe a month ago. I only told one person, I believe. It's my boyfriend. Wasn't him that did it, obviously. And I can tell you that man is not in jail. And I did get pictures of my injury. I did go to the police station. I did make a report. And he's not in jail. There's a very toxic ideology that you can just say, a man raped me and he's in jail. And I understand the fear because it's happened. It's happened. But to look at the majority of women who come forward and say this majority of them are lying is the same as the women who look at men who come forward about being raped, sexually assaulted, molested as children, and telling them that it can't happen to them because they're men. That is women perpetuating, rape culture onto men, and men telling women that they're lying is perpetuating rape culture. It is harmful, both of them, because it prevents people from coming forward. We need to understand, especially in the men's rights community, that we have been incredibly arrogant to rape culture. I am very proud to say that this community doesn't really struggle so much with toxic masculinity anymore. You guys are incredibly supportive of each other and you understand. I think the biggest struggle and the hardest thing as a woman who runs the men's rights community, the largest in the world, is that rape culture is now the most prevalent thing. And saying that the majority of women lie about being raped is rape culture. I can tell you that it is not as simple as calling the police, lying, and saying, and then having the man in jail. Because I called the police, I told the truth, and the man is not in jail. We have to go to trial. So the thing about people who have been sexually assaulted, raped, is there's hardly any evidence. And the perpetrators, the rapists, men, women, they know that. They do that on purpose. Why the fuck would there be witnesses? Why the hell would they record it? My point here today is I don't want you guys to say to me, Chloe, I'm so sorry that you went through this. Chloe, I'm really sorry. You're so brave. What I want you guys to take away from this is that I know that you guys are going to give me understanding, empathy, all the love in the world, and support. Because you guys are amazing men. I just cracked my finger. This is a strong community and you guys have a lot of love for me. You guys know that I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for attention. Because I have attention. I have money. I don't need to lie. Most people do not put themselves in the public eye and lie. about a heinous crime. Does it happen? For sure. For sure. But we need to start looking at situations individually and not collectively. I want you guys to take the understanding and the love and support that I know you guys are going to give me and think to yourselves, is there a woman who may have been like Chloe, who may have been telling the truth, who have been going through this? It took a lot of balls to be able to say it publicly, to be able to recount traumatic incidences that personally I have not recounted since I was 14, since I sat in a room with that detective. It's uncomfortable to give details. It's uncomfortable. I want you guys to look at that and say, is there a woman, maybe in the media, maybe in my life, that I didn't believe because I thought that the majority of women lie about rape? Should I have given that woman the same understanding and the same support that I'm willing to give Chloe because I trust her, because I know that she has the best interest of this community, of me, because I know that she wouldn't lie about being sexually assaulted, about being raped? We need to change our perspective. I don't want you guys to give me a bunch of sympathy and empathy. I want you guys to understand that there are a lot of men and women that are in my position that have been through heinous things, felt like they couldn't come forward, not be believed by their own family, be told that they would most likely have a hard time being believed in a courtroom. That does something to you. It's fucked up. We really need to support each other. Because every time we emulate into the world that, women lie about rape and most people lie about rape, because remember, men get raped too. Not all rapists are men. So, what does that say for men? What do you think those little boys who are being molested, those little girls who are being molested by that really well-liked person in our community, what do you think they're going to feel? Do you think that they're going to be more likely to come forward? No. Because society doesn't give sympathy to victims. They don't believe men and they don't believe women. We don't believe each other. We think men can't be raped and we think that women lie about being raped. But at the end of the day, it's really hard, especially to go into the public and say, this happened to me. Are there situations where people lie and men have been falsely accused of rape? Oh, absolutely. And we're not going to be arrogant to that, for sure. But what we need to understand is that those people fit a profile. People lie all the time, but they lie for things like money. Maybe they're losing custody. We see lying about rape very often in cases of, maybe people cheating. That's where I've seen it personally in my life. Now I say this very carefully because I don't, there are a lot of people who've been in a relationship and been sexually assaulted. I was a few weeks ago. And if somebody said to me, oh, well, no, you just cheated on your boyfriend and you're just calling it rape so he's not mad at you, I don't know. I might jump off my balcony, actually. That would feel terrible. So I say that really, really lightly. But I do know in high school, it was very common. I see people lie about it in custody battles. But if you would notice, a lot of the times, those judges don't take that seriously. And it's because law enforcement and professionals, they're trained. A lot of them are trained to tell when somebody's full of shit. And so like I said, I was sexually assaulted up in my bathroom. I called the police and Buddy is not in jail. We have to go to trial. We have to prove it. I was really lucky because he did a massive scratch up my leg. And, the police they did an amazing job. I can't give details. I maybe will when it's after. I most likely will when it's after, but I can't give too much details. But I will at some point, I promise. But anyways, there is evidence that it happened and he's still not in jail. So I think that we really need to just change the perspective and just give a little bit more understanding and stop this toxic rhetoric to the men's rights community of saying most women lie about rape. We are not making this a safe community for victims, okay? It's not even about just women because we understand that not all rapists are men, right? okay? Like, we know this. Women are rapists, they're sexual assailants. All of us who have survived childhood molestation, rape, sexual assault, we are all brother and sister survivors, all of us. We all have our own little community, and it's sad that that community has to be stemmed from somebody taking something from us. But at the end of the day, we stand together. And even the people who have never been through that, so many of you, you'll stand with your sister, you'll stand with me. And so I think that we need to make a very clear message in a men's rights community that we are not going to perpetuate rape culture, and we are going to make it easier for victims to come forward, because we are going to judge situations individually. If there is more than one woman coming forward, there is most definitely telling the truth, because what we know about the profile of sexual assailants and rapists is they most often have done it more than once. There's often a little trail. And so when more than one woman comes forward, it's really important to pay attention. It's important to listen to their stories, to see the reactions on their face. Are they hurting? But also know their trauma. Have they been so badly abused that crying is incredibly difficult for them? Because me, when I was 14, I wouldn't have been able to cry. In fact, I think I was stone cold faced talking to that detective. It was hard. I was dissociating. It was uncomfortable. I hold a lot of shame as a victim. It's not easy. We need to change this rhetoric in the men's rights community, because I think that this is the one last thing that I think if we change this, if we change this ideology and we understand that we need to be looking at the way our systems, we need to make sure that our systems are finding better ways to put actual rapists behind bars, because we know only 1% to 3% of those go behind bars. And there is not. You can sit there, just like the feminists try to sit there and say men don't get raped. There's so many statistics proving that. Those statistics are not right. And neither are the statistics that some of you have shown me that 50% of women lie about rape. That is not true. If you look at the FBI crime analysis statistics, especially in their special victims unit, that is not true. There is no leg to stand on. There is none. So you can sit there and convince yourself that all you want, but you are the exact same as the feminists that I have cried out of frustration and anger for male victims of sexual assault and rape, that they say it doesn't happen to them. It's rare. Little boys aren't molested as much as girls. It's rare. It's not rare. But it is rare for a woman to come up and stand in a public eye and just completely bullshit about a completely heinous story. And the same goes for men, because in this community, we recognize that men and women are equal, don't we? So there is no men and women. We are equal. Male victims and female victims, we are the same. We stand together. Male perpetrators and female perpetrators, they are the same, and we fucking classify them together to burn in hell. We need to stop this separation, please. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you are somebody that has gone through childhood molestation, rape, sexual assault, I will leave some hotlines. I will leave some resources for you. If you have not come out, I suspect for a lot of you, I think that this video is probably where a lot of you will share your story for the first time. For those, I'm proud of you. I thank you. Just please remember that we need to give understanding, empathy, and we need to look at every single situation differently. Because they're all individual. We need to stop treating every woman like they're lying, like every case is the same, because it's not. Thank you.